Hello friends, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about Singles Inferno 4, episodes 9 through 12. Episode 9 starts off with Junso selecting Xian to go to paradise for the second time. We obviously knew this was going to happen, and poor Minsar, because Junso kind of gave her a false hope in the previous episode where he kind of like asked her if she wanted to go to paradise, and she was like, yeah, of course, like I've been singing about wanting to go to paradise like to everybody else. And he kind of like led her on a little bit, saying like, oh, like I'll keep that in mind. It was a very mixed signal. He obviously was fully expecting to get picked to go to paradise, so it was kind of a shock to her. But I obviously knew, rest of us obviously knew that Junso was going to pick Xian. He's like literally head over heels for Xian right now. I don't even know why people thought that he was going to choose Binsar. I literally was like, oh, he's leading her on in episode 8. Again, though, not hating on Junso like exclusively. I'm sure maybe he didn't really say that with a malicious intent. I don't think he like calculated in advance like, oh yeah, I'm gonna say this and then like mess with her head. It was more of like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes he just doesn't know what to say and he just like says things. So I feel like that was one of those instances. Then we see Chungsu, and he actually picks Youjin as his paradise date, and this was mostly out of like friendship. His reasoning during his, one-on-one interview was that he just wanted to have a good time with someone fun. And being that Youjin is kind of like sadly on everybody's friend zone at this point, which I don't understand why, because she's a literal catch and I think she's so adorable. I just don't understand. And to be honest, as long as the reason is positive, I don't care. As long as our girl Youjin catches a break and gets to enjoy herself in paradise. She's been having a tough time, so I feel like let her enjoy, let her go to paradise, have some fun. And then thirdly, we have Taehwan, and he selects Jiyeon again, despite Jiyeon telling him, maybe you should pick someone else to go to paradise. But to be honest, like I also was thinking like, who else is he going to pick to go to paradise? The dude had like... Unfortunately, Taewon just did not have too much of a presence in the show because he was kind of off to the side. Like, I realized there really wasn't much of like individual interviews or even just like random scenes of him being around. Like, I don't know what happened, but he was just like not around a lot of the times. When Jiyeon was talking to Taewon about like maybe picking somebody else to go to paradise, I do think she was genuine about, her reasoning, like, hey, maybe it's good for us to kind of like take time like away from each other to like see if we're a good fit. But also I did get a feeling that she wasn't entirely into him, and in episode 9, unfortunately later, we do see the reasoning as to why, which we didn't see in episode 8. So yeah, I was wrong. I thought they were having a good time, but the editing really got me, guys. I felt bamboozled and betrayed by the false narrative that the PDs were giving us, because I was fully under the impression that Taehan and Jiyeon were having a great time in episode 8.
Disappointed!
Also, let me insert a clip of the cutest woman you've ever met.
출발! 복식하러 가볼까? 오!
제발 힐링하러 가볼까? 힐링 시작.
She is so sweet in my eyes. Like, a lot of people are saying that she seems to be putting on this like cutesy act, but I honestly think this is just her personality. It really just doesn't seem forced or that cringy to me. Like, it just seems pretty endearing. And I get that that's not everybody's cup of tea, the what are those words? What are those words called? What is the word when you use sound effects? Oh yeah, okay. Onomatopoeia. That's the word. Onomatopoeia. That's the word. Yeah. So the word for using sound effects is onomatopoeia. It refers to words that imitate the sounds they describe, like boom, splash, buzz, or meow, right? So she seems to be using a lot of this, and I saw a lot of people discussing on Reddit, which r/Singles Inferno 2 Reddit is crazy, by the way. If you guys want to see some next level hate, maybe go there and check it out. A lot of people were like, oh, she just sounds like a kid. She's so cringe, like she's trying too hard. But like, I saw some people make a really good point that she teaches children for a living. She is used to talking in this way. And also, so what if a woman is talking in that way? As long as she's not harming anyone, I don't know why y'all hating so much. Like, it really is like, damn, go touch grass or something, for real. Anyways, sorry, a little side rant because I feel like my girl Youjin deserves so much more in this show because she's a catch. And aside from like her onomatopoeias, I do feel like she allows the ones that she's with to feel really comfortable, and she seems to have really like easy conversations with people from what I've seen so far. Obviously when she's not romantically interested in them, as we have seen with Junso or Dongwoo in the beginning. Yeah, I feel like when she's comfortable with you, like her relationship with Theo or even her relationship with Chungsu, like she just really shines. And unfortunately, like, we didn't get to see a lot of that between episodes 1 to 8. So I was really happy that they were kind of giving us the glimpse of bright, bubbly Youjin in Paradise in episode 9. And her Paradise date with Chungsu was literally so cute. It doesn't have to be like a romantic thing. I think it was a friend date, but regardless, they seemed to be having a really good time. And Chungsu seemed very relaxed and very natural. I actually really liked him when he was with Youjin. She has this ability to kind of like bring out sides of people that, you know, are more attractive. So for instance, like when I saw Chungsu with Xian or Haejin, or like when I saw Chungsu with other people that he might be romantically interested in, I just, something felt off. Like something was weird. It was like he was trying too hard. But when he was with Youjin, he really kind of let himself go. He was making jokes. He was funny. There were so many aspects of Chungsu that really shined when he was with Youjin. So I feel like she has that ability in herself to really kind of bring out people's charms. And she allows them to be who they are. And I think that's a very rare quality to have, by the way. Let me know what you guys think about Chungsu and Youjin's date, because I thoroughly enjoyed their date. I thought they were cute, but like, you know, as friends, not like romantically, but they got along great. It was a joy watching them together. Skipping to Xian and Junseo's Paradise date number 2, the beginning of the dinner is swell, and they seem to be getting along just fine, but as the eating kind of dies down, you can sort of feel a shift in the energy a little bit, and to be honest, having watched all the way through the finale and me filming this now, I really do think the reason why the energy shifted a little bit is because the producers and the editors were fucking with me. Xian asks Junseo, who would you have picked if you didn't win first place and I was not available? And Junseo's like, Minseol, because he keeps thinking about her right now and he seems quite bothered by this. So Xian is obviously like, oh, really? She's like, 진짜? Like, what? How dare you bring up somebody else on our date? But I do feel like, aside from the weird editing that the producers are kind of putting us under, I do think their conversations have a lot of honesty in them. I think that's an indicator that they are actually quite compatible with each other, because they're able to kind of have these like more difficult conversations. Any like long-term real relationship, it's not always going to be like roses and rainbows all the time. You know, there are going to be times where you're going to have difficult conversations with the one you love. And although this is only their second date, I feel like, you know, they were working through some of like the questions and the more difficult topics that they had, and I really appreciated that. I feel like they were getting on the same page, but it wasn't quite there. It was a little bit rocky, you know? Something different that Singles Inferno team has been doing is the double date that happened in episode 9. I actually quite enjoyed this double date. They should keep doing that. But anyways, Xian and Junseo arrive at the pool hall, and then Youjin and Chungsu shortly arrive. The reason this is awkward is because Chungsu is kind of the other guy that Xian is contemplating about. I actually really like this pool hall double date, primarily because of my girl Youjin, because she's so bubbly and fun, And I think without her, the entire mood or like the feel of this date would have been so weird. But she's really good at kind of like, like raising up the vibe and like making sure things are fun. Kills it at the pool table. She is charming the pants off Chungsu, albeit not romantically, but still.
생각이 있어서 내 운팔운파야. 어쩌자고. 나를 유리병에 넣어 다니고 싶대. 아, 왜? 뭐야? 플러팅이야? 짠. 어때? 이틀 연속은 처음이잖아. 그만 먹어, 준서 씨. 계속 하루 종일 먹어 그냥. 그만 먹어. 처음 올거든? 싶은 대로 해보게. 오! 저 여자 진짜 선생을 내가 조금 잘 조절하나 봐.
Towards the end of episode 9, like this part really shocked me because like I said, I thought Taehan and Jiyeon were having a great time, but turns out they are very incompatible. Point 1, Taehan is not attempting to join her in the pool. It's like, at least, I don't know, like Dongho apparently said he doesn't like swimming, but he joined Arin in the pool. Like the least you can do is like, just like sit in the pool, like it's not even like you're doing much. So I don't even know why he was just like dangling his feet while Cheon is like fully submersed in the pool. And then, when she asks him like, hey, like, do you have any more questions for me? Or like, do you have anything else that you're curious about me? And he's just like, oh no, like I'll ask you when I think of a question. That's just so ridiculous. It's like, how can you be on a date with someone that you're interested in and then you're not curious about anything? That's wild. And then, like Jiyeon mentioned, the thing about him not believing in marriage, when Jiyeon specifically mentioned that one of her biggest dreams in life is to be married to someone she loves and have kids with him and, have a beautiful family and be a great mom and a wife. Like, how do you follow that up with saying, like, I don't believe in marriage or I'm kind of against marriage? Like, that is so rude. I would have been like, excuse me? Why would you say that? And literally, Jiyeon is a saint because I feel like I'm pretty confrontational. And Jiyeon was just like, she really was just being gracious with this guy because I was just like, what the heck?
Hell no, man. What the fuck?
What the heck? Who says that? To a woman that you're interested in who literally just said she wants to get married. Like, that's crazy work. Also, they highlight towards the end of episode 9 is Haejin just being a huge breath of fresh air and just being so direct, so honest, and so forward in her interest to Jonghoon. It was honestly really cool. The best girl. Haejin is the best girl. Thing is, like, they are cute, but I really haven't seen too much of their interactions together. Unfortunately, because I think Singles Inferno has been focusing so much on Xian's story, I feel like we haven't really seen a lot of like the other interactions. So I don't know. Okay, gonna make episode 10 recap short because there were really only like 3 major highlights. But one of the major highlights of episode 10 was the girls' game where they wrestle each other off the buoy in the pool. And after an intense battle, we have first place is Xian, second place is Haejin, and we have third place as Youjin. So as we know, Haejin and Youjin are both trying to take Dongho to paradise, right? But to be honest, like, Xian is an absolute unit. Like, don't get me wrong, mad respect for her for kicking ass on that. I don't know. I would have loved to see other people go to paradise. Like, I think if she would have let Haejin win, that would have been pretty fun because I would have loved to see a paradise date between her and Jongwon. But, whatever. Anyways, the other half of kind of the major highlight of episode 10 was Xian's candid conversation with Theo, letting him down gently, and she cries. It's so sad. She basically lets him know that like Junso and Jeongsu are kind of her top 2 choices right now, and lets Theo go, which I respected a lot. It's difficult to kind of have those type of honest conversations with someone that you're essentially rejecting, especially if you respect them and you like them as a person. It's like, difficult because you don't want to hurt their feelings. So mad respect to Xian for handling that conversation really graciously, and also a lot of respect for Theo for handling it really well, reassuring her that he's okay, that she doesn't have to cry or feel bad for him. Yeah, it was very sweet. But to be honest, I don't know. I do feel like Theo kind of settled his sights on Xian really quickly, and he probably could have explored a little bit more. Just saying. In the beginning, I was like, oh, Theo, that's very sweet. Like, you know, we all love a man who's like into one person. But like for him, he just never even like contemplated the idea or was even like drawn to other people. So I was just like, this has to be an act. Like it has to be a character is playing, because there's no way that you go and see all these beautiful women who are all beautiful, funny, talented in their own ways, and just be interested in one person only for the entire 10 days that you're there. That's just impossible. You're all hot and young. Like, you know what I mean? So episode 10 ends with kind of like a cliffhanger as to who's gonna pick who. And then we get episode 11. And episode 11 kind of starts off with showing us the three girls who are interested in Dongho. So Arin, Haerin, and Youjin, and kind of showing us like where things are before the paradise dates happen. Basically, the three girls take turns like talking to Dongho, and as we know, Dongho literally proved himself to be the best man ever, because he draws his boundaries with Haerin and Youjin like pretty much during that discussion. He lets them know like Arin is basically his pick, and not much at this point, which is like they have maybe 2 days left in the inferno, is going to change his direction or interest. So he lays that down like pretty clearly to both the girls. And although the message itself is tough, I think he is very gracious about it, and I really respected that out of him. And I was like, damn, that's the accountant in him. Like he definitely like had a script in his mind. He's a planner. He's a planner for sure. I know his MBTI is like a J in there somewhere. My heart kind of broke for Youjin during her conversation with Dongho. Like, I feel like you can kind of tell that her face, like you can kind of tell from her face that she kind of felt, I don't know, disappointed and sad. And I was like, no, my girl Youjin. Episode 11. Skipping to the selection, Xian actually chooses Chungsu to go to paradise this time. And initially I was a little bit confused, but then I was like, oh, maybe she's just... But I realized like, oh, I think she was trying to just like solidify her feelings for Chunseok before the end of, you know, the 10 days. So she needed that one last date with Chungsu to kind of like know definitively that she likes Chunseok for real. And then Haerin picks Dongho, although he told her that not much would change. And I respected that. She said that she didn't really want to regret any decisions. If you don't try, like, what's the point? Youjin, I actually was like really confused as to who she was gonna pick, but she ended up going with Chongun because her first choice was Dongho, but Dongho's going with Haerin, and then her second choice she said was Chungsu because they were friendly, they got along really well on their paradise date. But Chungsu went with Xian, so she was like, damn, who am I going to pick? She picks Chongwon, and Chongwon apparently was the guy that she kind of voted for when she was voting out of the three, you know, catfish guys. So I understand that the initial interest was there, and she was trying to kind of like see where it can go. And yeah, props to her for sticking it out till the end, because for me, I think I would have just given up and gone with like, I don't know, Teo or something. You know, someone I'm like literally no romantic interest in, just to kind of have fun. But yeah, as the panelist Tahi said, I do think Youjin is resilient. So yeah, Youjin, resilient. Love her. Skipping to the paradise dates, we have Xian and Chungsu like in the car, and they're driving to their date location. And Chungsu like kind of starts asking questions about like, how much can you like handle alcohol? How much did you drink? At this point, I don't even know if it's the music that they put in the background during this discussion or whatever, but like it started to seem almost like an interrogation from Chungsu as to like what went on between her date with Chunseok. It started to make me feel a little bit uncomfortable, I'm not gonna lie. When I was watching it, I was like, are you like taking a survey? Like, are you filling out a questionnaire? Like, what's going on here? This is a date between like you guys. There's really no need to talk about like what happened outside of that. But yeah, this is kind of where I was like, ooh, he seems a little bit controlling. But like, I don't know. I don't want to judge. So like, but that's kind of the vibe that I got. And then that kind of escalates a little bit when they get to the hotel and they're kind of like sitting by the window and talking. And Chungso is kind of like asking about like what her thought process was when Xian laid her head on Chunse's shoulder in the helicopter ride back the day before. At this moment, I was like, oh, he's cooked, because no girl wants to be like interrogated when they're on a date with someone. Like, if he actually utilized this date to kind of focus on his relationship with Xian instead of like interrogating her as to like why she was doing certain things with Chunso, I do really feel like the final choices could have been different. However, I really think this is what turned her off, because it's kind of what turned me off. I was like, dude, you're on a date with a girl you like. I don't think it's priority to kind of like get answers out of her as to like what she was doing on a date with someone else and what thought process she was having when she laid her head gently on another man's shoulder. It's like, dude, I get that you're conservative. He says it himself. Although it's like, but you laid in bed with Haejin on the first date. But anyways, let me not talk about that. He's like, I'm conservative. I don't like that. It's like, relax, okay? It's just literally, she could have just been tired. She could have been getting like motion sickness. It could have been anything. And I don't think interrogating her when she's clearly uncomfortable, by the way, helped at all. And like, to be honest, yeah, it was cute when like Chungsu was like laying in bed with her when she was like falling asleep and looking longingly into her face and so much love and affection in his eyes. But like, I don't know. I was just like, this is cute. It makes me flutter a little bit. But at the same time, his actions from earlier kind of turned me off. So I legit was like, kind of like, okay, let the girl sleep, okay? Let the girl sleep and get off the bed if that's how conservative you are, Chungsu, for real. And honestly, the funniest part of episode 11 was rediscovery of Jonghoon's character. Because I legitimately did not know the dude was that funny.
또 수영하러 놀러 갈까?
한 것 같으면 자 그럼 우리 이제 뭐 하러 가볼까? 자 그럼 우리 이제 이거 다 먹었으니까 이제 뭐 해볼까?
꽝이네요, 꽝. 꽝이에요, 그냥.
우리 이제 숙소 가서 과일 먹을까? 이제 우리 씻고 잘까?
아니, 진행자네, 진행자.
But to me, it seemed like, you know, he had like literally zero interest or romantic interest in Youjin. It was more like, oh, like we're friendly, we're friends, you know, we're cool, we vibe. But it wasn't like, oh my god, my heart flutters for you and like all that. It just literally just seemed like a friend that was just trying to be there for a friend and trying to have a good time with them. And he had like an itinerary of things that he wanted to do with Youjin. It was just so funny. Like, it was wholesome, but it was also hilarious. And I felt so bad for Youjin because I think she was kind of hopeful that this would be something romantic potentially. But it just didn't work out. And her reactions were so funny to me. I was legit dying when I was watching the scenes with her because her face was legitimately like, she can't hide her emotions. And towards the end of episode 11, we have like that conversation between Taewon and Jiyeon where Jiyeon basically like asks him like, what made you say that you were kind of like against marriage when I specifically told you yesterday that I wanted to get married and, you know, that I want a family and I want to be a wife. Taewon legitimately didn't have much to say. Like, he was literally stuttering. his reasoning did not make sense. And at the end, he said basically like, I brought it up because I wanted to imply that I'm looking for someone to change that about me. Which I was like, okay, decent effort at trying to get out of that pit. But but I do think that he said it because he legitimately was not thinking. Like, it's just something that he said because he just wanted to say something. To be honest, this is kind of like where you kind of see that their communication styles are just not compatible. And I think Cheon is just being really nice to not like publicly humiliate him or reject him. I think Taewon definitely has some qualities he can work on, but I don't think he was malicious when he said that. I really genuinely do think he did not think too deep about it, and he probably honestly just forgot Cheon said that about marriage. To be frank, I really think he just wasn't listening, and he just, you know, it's kind of like that scene with the contact lenses, how he was like, oh, didn't you say you wore lenses for like 8 years? And she was like, no. So he's like, he doesn't pay attention, it seems, you know? He's like too in his own head. I don't know. So finally, we have episode 12, the finale. And I'm gonna keep this recap short because there's only so much that happens in the last episode. Basically, Xian comes back from paradise and she's able to talk with Junse, and Junse has been showing this like different side of himself, a little bit more gentle, a little bit more caring and sweet. And Xian, obviously, I knew like literally the first like 10 minutes of episode 12 that Xian was going to pick Junse at the end, because I was like, after last night, Changsu's the dub for real. And then after today, when she got back to paradise and, you know, had this like cute little moment with Junse, it's done. Junse is the one. And also, Dongwoo and Arin, so cute. They're literally dating. If they're not dating in real life, I need to calm down. So towards like the middle of episode 12, that's kind of when everyone gathers around for like the final night by the bonfire, and you know, they do the whole like age and occupation reveal, and you know, talk about shit. Obviously, like every season there's like people who cry, so Binsar kind of sheds a tear and talks about what a great experience it was. I did feel really bad though, because you know, she seems to almost like internalize Chunse's rejection, as if like, you know, because their paradise date wasn't good. Like the question she asked him, was our paradise date at least fun? And he was like, of course, it was the best, it was the funnest. Like, and you know, I felt so bad. I was like, this is like such a common thing that a lot of like younger people do when they're dating. They internalize the rejection. And like, trust me, I've done that too. But the thing is, like, at the end of the day, you really can't internalize it. I think Minsara learned during this time that she, like, it's not really 100% about you all the time, you know? Sometimes it's, their rejection is a reflection of the difference in your values or the difference in your personalities or whatever it is, you know? So, yeah, it was good to see her kind of, like, get emotional and stuff, but I also kind of felt bad. I feel like she kind of took the rejection really personally, and but it's a very common thing. She's only 23. It's very easy to feel that way. So it's okay, girl. You will find somebody. Don't worry. You're beautiful. Okay, you will have no trouble finding someone. Skipping to the final selections, we have Jiyeon and Taewon. So Taewon goes to Jiyeon, and Jiyeon accepts him, and they leave Inferno together. And to be honest, I don't see them working out in the real world outside of Inferno. I think obviously, you know, they remain friendly and whatnot, but I just don't. I think Jiyeon left with him to save face for him and for herself. And I also think she's way too nice to like reject a guy flat out on national television, so probably that's also why. We have Dongwoo and Arin, you know, but there was no mystery there. Like, we all knew this was gonna happen, so I was like, cute. I ship. And then we have Haejin and Jongwon, which we also knew was gonna happen, so no surprise there. I ship also, but I also would have liked to see more scenes with them. I just feel like I just haven't seen too much of chemistry there, but they're cute. And then, you know, the main love story, the centric love story in Singles Inferno 4 this season is the Xian love story with Taeo, Chunse, and Jeongsu. So all three of those men go to Xian, and we know that she ends up with Chunse at the end.
지수야, 뭐 퍼포먼스 없어? 퍼포먼스?
So yeah, that concludes episodes 9 through 12 of Singles Inferno recap. Whew, that was a lot of talking. I'm sorry. I did like parts of season 4, although in the beginning I did think it was a little bit mid. I did like the double date thing that they did. I also think that a lot of the conversations that the contestants were having were more on the honest and deep side. It didn't have me that invested, but I did appreciate kind of the transparency between some people. But I do think that there are aspects of season 4 that they could have done better. Like, I wanted to see more like interaction and conversations between the cast, like themselves. I feel like the reason season 1 and 2 were kind of more fun for me personally was because there was just a lot more scenes of like the group bonding, and sometimes like through those scenes you can really kind of see the dynamics of different people, like how one person relates to another person, but like how they might act a little bit differently with somebody else in the same group. So like that kind of thing I missed. And also I kind of hope they bring the old Inferno layout back. I felt like everything was kind of like in one place this time, and I really liked kind of the long walks that they would take, and like the long-winded areas where they would have to go and grab water and like cooking. Like I kind of hope they bring all of that back in the next season. Maybe they took it away for certain reasons that we don't know about, but I mean, whatever. This is just my opinion and I'm a nobody, so who cares? For me, like watching season 1 and 2, I did skip some parts of season 3, not gonna lie. I think I skipped the most in season 4. To be honest, my first watch, I did skip a lot of it. And then when I was writing the scripts, I kind of went back and did watch the scenes that I did skip. And I was like, oh, thank God I skipped them because this has nothing, no substance, boring as hell. That's kind of how I gauge whether something is interesting to me or not, whether if I regret skipping it or not regret skipping it. And like season 4, I did not regret skipping some parts because they were just not, I don't know, it just wasn't fun. It didn't add much to the relationships or the possible relationships in the show. And I don't know, I just wanted to see more dynamic between the group members, and I just did not see that this season. But it does seem like in like all of the new interviews that are coming out of Singles Inferno cast, it does seem like they are quite close. So who knows? There's always going to be the reality TV editing, you know, that is like purposefully trying to mislead you. So, you know, anything for the views, right? I don't know. I want season 2 back. But I know I'm just biased because, you know, Sohee and Sejun. I miss my Sohee and Sejun couple. To be honest, like ever since season 2, I don't think I've felt the level of investment that I felt with couples. Even with Xian and Chunse, like I love them together, but it was never like, I don't know, maybe it was just season 2. I don't know what it was about season 2, but I'm still obsessed with Sohee and Sejun. Like, I'm still there in season 2, guys. Like, forgive me. That is all for my rambling for Singles Inferno 4. I hope you all enjoyed watching this with me. I enjoyed it. Just not as much as season 2. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think of this season, and what you guys think of the final choices. I'd love to hear all of your opinions and thoughts. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!